Nutrition is really an important part of health, and understanding how much we get from our foods. We are what we eat, actually. We are what we don't excrete. So foods that we put into our body are really important to keep the immune system healthy. So this is something that I feel very strongly about, is that we need to give animals a food that they have been eating for thousands of years. It's really been only in a 100 years that we've been processing dog food and giving them dog food, and even less than that. So feeding animals fresh, raw food is really important. And we talk about, in the other film, about feeding a raw diet and watching National Geographic or watching one of the animal shows and seeing how the animals, like the wolves and the large cats, that they kill a gazelle, and then the first thing they do is to open up the abdomen, eat the intestines, eat all the offal that's in there, or the liver and the kidneys and all that aspect of it. And then a day or two later, they'll come back sometimes and eat the meat. But they eat the pre and probiotics that are in the gut. And that's really what they're doing, is they know innately that this is an important part of how they can help them digest food. So we want them to eat those kinds of things. So in our practice, we really encourage a fresh, raw, organic diet that's well balanced. And it's something that everybody can do. It's much more work than throwing some dry food in a bowl or opening a can of food. But that's the same thing for yourself. You know, to give yourself a healthy meal and to cut up a fresh salad, or to make up a fresh stew, or to do some food processing in your own home and not buy something that's been heavily processed from a company, you're going to get better ingredients and you're going to know what's in there. You don't really know what's in your dog food. You look at the labels and you try to examine them, but there's a lot more stuff that we want to be giving animals. So feeding fresh, organic, raw food is really, really important. And most people will come back and say to me, my vet said, don't feed raw food. You can't feed raw food. Don't feed raw food. It's unhealthy. It's got salmonella. It's got E. coli. It's got all this bacteria. You're going to kill your dog. Well, I have not had one dog have a problem with eating raw food. Some dogs have to have it partially seared, and some older dogs sometimes need it a little bit cooked. But when you see them thriving and doing so well when we change this diet and enhance their whole absorption, which we're going to go into a little bit later, with this whole biome replacement, it's so crucial that we give animals fresh, raw food. So next time when somebody says that to you, think about what dogs eat in the wild. If a dog walked across my parking lot and licked its paws, there would be more bacteria in that paw from the licking than there would be in a fresh organic piece of chicken or venison. So that piece of worrying about that bacteria, when there are over 500 species in your gut, I'm going to be worrying about one or two species that I'm concerned about. Dogs can tolerate that and they eat that without any problem. What we want to talk about is your handling of the food and your children. So when you have an animal that eats raw food, you want them to be eating it in a place that they're not dragging it through your house. You don't want them taking the chicken back and dragging it all through their living room and on the carpet, because that's not a healthy thing to be having. So you want to feed them in an area that can be easily cleaned well, and make sure that you're washing the utensils, washing the bowls in an area that you're not preparing your foods, because that bacteria is something that we as humans are not as accustomed to as dogs. They have much higher gastric juices than we do and can totally eat those things without any problem. Humans, on the other hand, have to be a little bit more careful about those things. Having more fresh and raw food in a human diet is very important. Fresh salads and fresh vegetables, it does add to our biome and it helps create a healthier individual. So you want animals to be eating healthy foods, but you want to also separate it from your food preparation. And they found that people that have dogs and cats in their home have healthier kids, and because their immune system is getting exposed to these things at a very small amount. But you don't want the young 2-year-old toddler to be picking up the piece of raw chicken and carrying it around the house. That's not a good idea. So be logical. be careful, be conscientious when you do feed your pets.